What's up, guys? This is Ryan Johnson with MNYBS.com. All right, guys, back for another Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern every week. We will be getting together, having a little bit of fun, having some discussions, maybe going over some tournaments, some different things like that. But you guys saw the thumbnail. You saw the questions. Hopefully, you guys have been keeping up with the polls that I have been putting out, and you've been putting in some input in that. So, this topic, backboating. Guys, let's have some fun with this. Let's also come up with some solutions to help some of the co-anglers. And the reason we are doing this tonight is because I have been getting questions every now and then, and it seems like a topic that a lot of guys want to discuss. So, hey, let's get into it. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. And like I said, let's exchange some ideas and most of all, come up with some solutions to help those co-anglers out while they're out there on the water. But first, as you guys come into the live stream, please make sure you hit the like button. Please continue to show support for the channel. I really appreciate the feedback. The numbers are growing pretty good, guys. And like I said, I really appreciate it. Oh, let me go ahead and put up this banner down here. The Patreon, guys, is a work in progress. I will be uploading content on there for you guys so we can get active in there. There will be a Discord where you guys can chime in. We can exchange ideas and just kind of have our own little private place where we can get together and help each other out on the water. All right. And let's see, as you guys come into the chat, let's see, we have guys joining in. Appreciate the support. Appreciate everybody coming in. And as you join into the live stream, please make sure you hop into the comment section, introduce yourself. Let's see who is here this week. I see we have Bass Fever has jumped into the mix. Appreciate you. Talked to him a little earlier today. Said he would jump in, chime in. Let's see what he has to say. He has fished as a co-angler on the BFLs for several years. Very experienced, very good. He is now a boater. So he has experience on both sides of that. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see who else we have coming into the live stream. All right, we have Pat jumping in. Mask off. Let's see what he has to say. Money Bass backboated me so bad one time, and it was in a team tournament. Oh man, you didn't have to tell him about that one. You didn't have to tell him about that one. And he says that, oh, he's just playing. All right. Yeah, there we go. Said I backboated him. But yeah, we had some good times. So yeah, me and Pat, we fished a few team tournaments. We also fished in some club tournaments. So he was a co-angler, but now he is a boater. But I haven't seen you out there on the water, man. What's going on? The guy's been asking about you and everything. Where you at? You got to come and check us out. All right, we have some more guys coming on into the chat. And let's see, guys, who else do we have in here? All right, we have that guy you know. Glad you are back. This is a loyal supporter of the channel. And let's see what that guy you know has to say. I have been backseated, as I call it. Yes, I have actually seen some people call it front-ended, backseated, backboated. There's a lot of different terms for it. So I'm pretty sure it depends on what region of the country you're in. But let's see. That guy you know says, I have been backseated, as I call it. I just watched every cast and tried to place my bait in between where he casted his bait, basically. So yeah, I mean, you got to be creative back there on the back of the boat. Not always an easy thing. So we still have some guys coming into the chat. So we are going to get into this, and hopefully some of you guys, I can pull you up like I did last time, and we can kind of exchange some ideas, thoughts, and just different things like that to see what we can do to make this a better situation for guys out on the water. All right, so let's see. That guy says, good evening, coach. I don't know about that. Hey, we're all on the same team. So we're all team members right now. So maybe we're all coaches. We all have something to input into the conversation. All right, we also have Bass Fever back, says, thanks. No problem. Appreciate the support of the channel. All right, and we have Bucky Moore. Let's see what Bucky has to say. Hey, man, what's up? I'm fishing on Lake Eufaula this weekend. Do you have any tips? All right. That sounds like some Patreon game right there. What are you thinking, Bucky? Yeah, we just fished Eufaula. I think I was there maybe 2 weeks ago. So I have some information I could kind of help you out with, see if it'll help you out. Is that going to be a BFL, just local tournament, or what kind of situation do you have going there? Club tournament? But yeah, so just also, if you guys want to contact me, you can hit me, of course, as I said, in the Patreon right now, guys. If you join that Patreon, there aren't a lot of people in there, so it would be more of a closer to a one-on-one setting in there, a small group of people, and basically we just get together, exchange ideas, answer questions like Bucky has here, so that we can all get better out on the water. That is the goal, is to bring value to everyone that is a subscriber, and especially in the Patreon, guys. All right, so let's see what Cowboy Jack has to say. Hello from Iowa. Hey, there we go, guys. You see that? We have guys all over the place calling in. So this will be and is an interesting topic, and I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. So another thing, as you guys are joining in, one of the things that I want people to do is in the comments, what is your definition of being backboated, back-seated, front-ended, kind of interchangeable with those titles of the names of it. But in the comments, please get active in there. Let me know what your definition is. And we're going to use that throughout this discussion to determine what is backboating, what isn't backboating. Some people say, I've never had that experience. I don't even know what it is. I don't think it exists. What do you guys think about that right there? So, all right, let's go ahead and see who else we have checking in. I really appreciate it, guys. We still have some more people coming into the chat. All right, we have Vernon Neal. Hello, Ryan. Crowley, Texas in the house. All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Land of the big fish. And we have S. George checking in. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Uh-oh. Money bass. Interesting subject. All right. Do you have something to add? Do you have something to say? The mass bastard present. Oh my goodness. All right. So that's his code name for on the water. All right. All right. And then Bucky says it's a high school tournament. All right. Really appreciate that. And hey, I want to get into some things for the high school anglers. So if you are a high school angler, make sure, let me go ahead and just check out the banner down at the bottom for my Instagram. Let's see. Let me bring that back up here for you. So that is my Instagram going across the bottom. So hit me up on my Instagram, because I do want to start putting together a live stream for the college and high school anglers, so we can kind of expand a few things. But that's something to get into, something that I want you guys to get involved in. All right, guys. So we have a few people that have come in. So let's just go ahead and get started with this topic. Let me switch back over to the comments. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this topic, guys. And like I said, I want to see what your definition is of being backboated. And that is what we're going to use for the topic of this discussion today, and see what we can do to kind of help you guys out with that. Or, just come up with some options, some ways to resolve that from some of our previous discussions that we had. All right, so for me, one of the main things that I would say is, as a co-angler, it is all about your mindset. If you go into it with a negative mindset, then you're kind of defeating yourself from the beginning. So you definitely do not want to do that. If you continue to look at things in a positive, regardless of what situation you're in, where that boat pulls up at, how shallow, how deep, or whatever the situation is, on your mind should always be, how can I catch a fish with the location that I'm in and with the baits that I have to use? So keeping that mindset is going to be, I would say, the number one thing. The other thing next to that is going to be the tools that are needed, which are going to be, what type of baits do you want to use? So do you want to use something? Well, you want to have something that's going to cover all areas of that water column, whether you're going to be shallow, deep, or fishing offshore, structure, rocks, grass, all those things. So you have to keep those in mind. So real quick, what I'll do now is just show you guys some of the baits that, as a co-angler, that I would use. So I fished as, and just to clarify real quick, I fished as a co-angler for 2 years, guys. My first year, I was pretty much learning, just soaking in all of the information I could. And it was just a great learning experience for me. And it was with a bass club, the Rob Bender's Bass Club. So a lot of my mentors and everything are currently in that club. And we still fish, and I'm still in that club to this day. So it has always been a positive thing for me, and I really appreciate it. So my first year fished as co-angler, I was able to achieve second place for co-angler of the year. The following year, I fished as a co-angler, and I was able to get angler, well, not angler of the year. That's that right there, angler of the year. But co-angler of the year is what I was able to obtain my second year. So I spent a lot of time studying the craft and everything about the co-angling side of it, because it is completely different from fishing from the front of the boat. So a lot of times you're going to have different baits, different speeds, different retrievals, everything like that. So you can't really look at your coming from a co-angler side, try to compare yourself at to that boater, because it's just a whole different ball game whenever you're doing that. But let's go ahead and get into some of the baits for me that I would carry as a co-angler. And like I said, you're looking at the different water depths, water temps, things like that. But mainly it's going to be about water depths and structure. And you want to throw baits that you will not get snagged whenever you're fishing. So as far as the baits that I would drag on the bottom are going to be, number one is going to be a shaky head. I always want to keep that with me. And that is something that is very versatile, because not only can you throw some type of worm bait on that, you can switch that up and put some type of swim bait on that. And you can actually still fish that the same way that you would fish a shaky head, or you can swim it through the water column. So just this part right here. So you can put that on a shaky head and fish that the same way that you would a swim bait, or you can fish it with a shaky head and keep it on the bottom. The other thing that you want to keep is, again, sticking to the weedless whenever you are down on the bottom, because when that boat is moving, it's going to make that bait move at different rates than what you may want it to. So you want to be able to control it the best that you can. Another good thing to have is going to be a jig, and there's a variety of sizes, and depending on the water depth is what you're going to want to focus on as far as the size of the jig that you use. The other thing is going to be a Carolina rig. So if there's any of these setups that you guys aren't familiar with, just make sure if you're not in the Patreon, there's some videos specifically on some of these type of rigs in the Patreon. But if not, I do have a few videos that are on my channel. You just have to kind of search through there and find those. And again, the other thing, guys, make sure you always read the description. There's links to some of these items, and if there's ever any discounts or anything, I also put those down in the description area. So make sure you get in the description and stay active in the comments, guys, because there's always good information that we exchange. Whether you're a subscriber, Patreon member, in the comment section, there's always good information. All right, so those would be some of the top 3 baits that I would look at as far as the worm or the dragon baits that I would use. The other thing that I would use is going to be a swim bait, like I was just holding up, and specifically something like a fish head spin. Let me get this over here so you guys can see it. A fish head spin. And this has that little spinner down there at the bottom. And of course, this is going to imitate a small bait fish. You can throw this depending on the size that you have. You can throw it in shallow water. You can throw it in deep water. So you want to make sure that your baits that you're using are versatile. And with this is a 1/2 ounce that I would typically use. I could throw this shallow and deep, like I said. And the other thing is a flashy swimmer. So you can use a spinnerbait, or what I would use a lot of times is a flashy swimmer, and just put a swim bait on that. And so with that, that allows you to get this down in the water column. The same with this, basically. The same with the fish head spin. So however shallow or deep you want that in the water column, you can count this down. And with the flashy swimmer, you can actually bring this through different types of cover, through grass, through things like that, because the hook itself is going to be embedded inside of that swim bait. So that's another option that you can use. The other thing is going to be different crankbaits, guys. So crankbaits obviously are going to be dependent on your water depth and how fast that boat is moving and what angles that you can cast at. So whether you're going to be using a Squarebill, you can use something that goes a little bit deeper. And for offshore fishing, whenever you want to have those deeper diving baits. And this color right here is something I like using for largemouth lakes. So anytime there's largemouth lakes, I like using something that has bright colors to it, has a little bit of rattle. But this 6XD, that will get down to some of that deeper water. The other thing that I mentioned is the spinnerbait. So that's another option that you guys want to keep in mind. And something that will save the day for a lot of situations that I hear co-anglers in, as far as whenever they're going down the bank, the boater may be moving too fast and like there's nothing that I can do. Well, there is something that you can do. You can throw a top water bait. As long as you can get this bait, you can cast this way back behind the bait and behind the boat. And depending on the type of lake that you're fishing, it will be a very effective bait that you can cast directly off the back of the boat if you need to, and depending on the situation you're in. And the other thing is going to be a buzz bait. So those are some big fish baits, guys. So fishing as a co-angler, that's what you are going to be fishing for. A lot of times for me, I would focus on trying to get 3 bites for that day, and hopefully those will be some nice sized fish. And then from there, just kind of have to build on that and get those 2 additional fish. All right, so that is the bait selection. Let me go ahead and go through a few more of these comments. Let's see who else we have in here. And if anybody wants to hop on here and kind of, once we get into the meat of things and talking about the backboating and how that works, how it doesn't work and things like that, I'll see if anybody wants to come up. I can bring you up and we can talk about it. All right, so let's see who else we have that has come in. All right, so we have Vernon Neal says, I don't know what you would call it when someone turns off the graph at the console while you're fishing from the back of the boat. I didn't know how to feel about it. I just kept fishing. Yes, so I have heard about that also. And this one, guys, will say that I'm doing that so that I can save battery power. But my opinion on that is that you need an extra battery if you're going to be fishing a situation where you're going to have a co-angler in that event. There's a reason for co-anglers in the events in the first place, so you kind of want to keep them in mind whenever you're doing this. So to me, that's one of the least things that you can do, because in that situation, using that sonar, or if they have 360 imaging, you can use that effectively from the back of the boat. So the question that I would have, whenever that happened, did you mention anything? Did you say anything? Did you ask them why? I'm kind of curious about that. What someone would actually say is the reason that they're doing that. Yeah. And also in the comments, guys, what do you guys think about that? And how many of you guys have been on the boat where the boater turned off the electronics, and how did you handle that situation? But that's kind of my opinion on that. I would not do that. I would leave it on, because you want to give that co-angler some type of some type of leverage, because fishing as a co-angler is harder than fishing as the boater. You have to be, in my opinion, more versatile as a co-angler, and you can't go into it thinking that it's just going to be easy as a co-angler. The co-angling job is kind of the co-angler. Being a co-angler is more like going through basic training, because you're the soldier that's getting ready for whenever you're going to be in the situation of being a boater. That's kind of the way that I look at it. All right, so let's see who else we have. We have Bass Masters 101. I've been backboated, dude, paralleled riprap with a swim jig all day. I've been accused of backboating. I think anglers get in the zone and don't even think about the non-boater. Right. So that right there, paralleling, that is one of the top things that the co-anglers have come up with. And in a minute, I will pull up this poll, guys, so you guys can I'll just read off the results of that. Let me just go ahead and get to it right now, so it will already be up on my screen. All right, so with the parallel situation to the bank, that's one of the things where I was discussing, as far as having a some type of top water bait, and then you want to throw something that is a little more shallow running, like a Squarebill crankbait or something like that, because if it goes too deep, as you know, as a co-angler, the momentum of that boat is going to pull that bait down a little bit faster, and you will get stuck a lot more often whenever you're let me go ahead and pause this real quick. All right, so the other thing, as far as a shallow running crankbait, really my number one thing in that situation would be something more like a swim bait, something like that fish head spin, because you can control the depth of this bait a lot better. So you can throw that out there, let it go down, or keep it, if you reel it a little bit faster, you can keep it up towards the top. But that's something that I would do with that. But a lot of people, so for me, as far as saying that's backboating, if that person is fishing it, I really want to see some of you guys put the definition of backboating. Anybody so Bassmasters 101, when you're saying that you have been backboated, what does that mean? There are a lot of people who don't know what that means. And believe it or not, there's some people in the comment section right now that don't believe backboating exists, because if you have water to cast to, then you have the opportunity to catch fish. It may not be the way that you want, but the fish don't always bite the way that you want. So what is your definition of backboating, or backseated, or front-ended? That's really what I want to see down in the comments. And I haven't seen anybody put it in here yet. That's what I'm looking for, guys. All right. So we have Mark Scott. What's going on? Glad to have you back into the live stream. Wish I could help. Never been backboated. And when people are on the back of my boat, I've always been respectful and give them a chance to catch fish as well, even when I was fishing tournaments. All right, so there you go, guys. There are guys that have never been backboated. So people have heard about it, but what is it? What do you guys say backboating is? So let's keep going through here real quick. We have bass fever. Let's see. Not have many chances to casting my bait to the places I prefer. Okay, so that is his definition of backboating. What do you guys think about that? I want to see some comments and responses. So let's break this down. Not having many chances to casting my bait to where I prefer. As a co-angler, you're not even going to be able to go where you prefer on the lake. So that right there, you may want to cast to rocks, but if this boater is fishing laydowns, is he backboating you because you can't cast where you prefer? So for me, seeing that as a definition of backboating, and like I said, I really want some input. I'm going to go ahead and drop this link too, because maybe there's somebody that wants to hop on here with me, and we can kind of dissect these things together. I mean, I think that'll be fun, guys. What do you think? So let me drop this link real quick and see if anybody will jump up here with me. All right, so the link is now in the comment section, guys. Just make sure that you have your YouTube volume turned down or off whenever you come up. Let me just make sure it's in here. All right, there you go, guys. If you guys can see that link, just hit yes in the chat. Just let me know that you know that it's there. But not having many chances to cast my bait places I prefer. So that's what I think. That is my opinion on that. Not having places to cast where you prefer as a co-angler. I don't think that co-angling is about that. It's about wherever you're at, making the most of that situation and thinking, what do you have to do to make that situation work? Because as a co-angler, I don't think you're even going to be in the locations where you want to be for the most part. You have to adapt to what is there. And so I think that is what, whenever you hear some people saying backboating doesn't exist or I've never been backboated, I think this is what they're referring to, because they go into it knowing that they may not be able to cast where they prefer. They're going to cast what they have available and change up and adapt to that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that one, guys. All right, the link is in the comments. Let's see, is anybody going to come up? All right, we got Texas Noob 2010. Glad to have you checking in. Glad to have you back supporting the channel. What do you think about this backboating situation? Have you ever been backboated? Have you ever been accused of it? Do you know what it means? Do you have a definition for it? Let me see what you guys, what else you have to say. Let's see. All right, we have somebody coming into the live stream. Let me read one or two more of these and then I'll bring him up. Well, actually, let me go ahead and bring up. Let's see who we have back here, guys. We have that guy you know coming to the live stream. All right, can you hear me okay? Everything sound good?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Can you hear me?
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I can hear you all right. All right, so let me see. So this is your comment. Let's see what you had to say. That guy you know, he says you need your own plan. Don't fish for the boater's fish. Hey, I mean, I agree with that, because I mean, when you're on the back of the boat, how can you fish for that boater's fish? It'll be a bad day on the lake if you do that to the wrong boater. So what do you think about this? What is your definition of backboating, or what did you call it? Back seating?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's freezing up a little bit, but yeah, I think it may be the location you're in, but I think your audio's coming through pretty good. But we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the more I thought about it, which I hadn't really thought about it before, but I guess once you decide to be a co-angler,
Mm-hmm.
and I've changed my mind since we just started, but once
Gotcha.
you decide to be a co-angler, I don't think you can be backboated now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
because you've chosen the back of the boat, and if the fish are on riprap and that's what you're paralleling, I mean, it's going to be really hard to give you an opportunity. I mean, there's always an opportunity. I just say downsize and shaky head and all of those things to help you in the back of the boat. But I'm really thinking that you can't be backboated if you choose to be in the back of the boat.
Uh-oh. Let me hit the horn for that one, guys. We have somebody else that looks like he may have converted. So he said, so guys, if you are in the comment section, I want somebody to come up. Tell us what backboating is and well, really, that is the main thing we need to know is what is the definition. So let me go back to Bass Fever's definition. Not have many chances to cast his bait where he prefers. Do you see that as being backboating or backboated or backseated?
Well, the more I read the comments, the more I thought about it. I just don't think that is being backboated now that I think about it. When you first sent out the preview of the video like a day or two ago,
right,
I was pretty fired up about it, thinking,
gotcha.
I've been backboated before, but I chose to be a co-angler in that tournament, right? So if I chose to be a co-angler, then I've got to have a different mindset, and I have to realize that I'm there to learn to boater, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, so I'm kind of agreeing with you, and that's why I'm open minded. I'm open to understanding when someone says that, because like this comment says, places that he prefers. The other thing I hear people saying is, I don't have any water to cast to, and I have to visualize what that actually means. How could a boat possibly be positioned to where you have no water to cast to? You follow what I mean?
oh yeah, absolutely. There's always
Yeah.
water to cast to. It's
Right.
not preferred water, but
Right. But you're not even going to be in your preferred places. I mean, one time when I was fishing as a co-angler, we were running down the lake and I didn't realize it, but the boater's motor cut out on him. I thought he was stopping there to fish. I looked over his grab and we were about in 80 feet of water. I immediately hop up and grab my poles and start getting ready to fish. And he's looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You stopped." So it's time for me to catch fish. And so he was like, "You're not going to catch any." I was like, "Listen, wherever the boat stops, that's where I fish at." So yeah, so that's kind of the way that I view it. And so so I think by doing this, we may, kind of change people's minds about. I think the main thing is that mindset. What is your mindset whenever you're going out there?
right.
And I think that will change your day.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
just
you're there to learn, right? I mean, you chose the back of the boat so that you can become a boater at some point, typically, right? Uh,
right,
so you got to have the more I'm here to learn from them attitude to me. It's going to be, there are some times, as I said, I know I've been in the when we paralleled the riprap, but you take a shaky head and a little crankbait and throw behind the boat and get what you get. So,
yeah, or that right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
That right
yeah.
there, because you can keep that up in the water column without getting hung up, or even a spinner bait, something like a spinner bait that'll work too. I mean, you won't get hung up because with the shaky head, the momentum of that boat moving forward, sometimes it's going to dig down, and before you can hop it up, you'll get stuck. But the main thing with that, if you're fishing off the back of the boat and casting toward the back of the boat, you want to kind of hop that bait. You don't want to drag it because you'll definitely get stuck. And
Yeah.
I've had a co-angler that's actually what he was doing. I was fishing riprap. I wasn't moving, and he was continually throwing a Carolina rig, and he was getting stuck on every
Oh,
cast. And I,
yeah.
I was like, "Hey, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you're getting stuck every every
Yeah.
cast, so you might
Yeah.
want to change that up."
Well, I think I changed. I think about the riprap. If somebody's hitting right there where the water meets the
Right.
rocks, and you start fishing where the riprap ends, right? You fish out a little deeper where the riprap ends.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, let me scroll down real quick and see who else we have. So we have another definition here. We got Texas Snoop 2010. He says up shallow and the boat is pointed inland and I'm out deeper. All right. So being an offshore fisherman, I prefer to cast deeper. I don't like casting towards the bank. So for me, I would not consider that backboating because that is where I would prefer to cast. And as a co-angler, that is what I did the majority of the time. Whenever I was on the boat, I would take a drop shot, and I would cast that drop shot out toward the deeper water. Even when the boater was fishing docks, I would cast towards where the break in the where it drops off, kind of like the edge, the ledges and things like that. So even from when the water drops, maybe from 5 feet to 10 feet or 10 feet to 20 feet, whatever that drop is, I would still cast out that way. So when I'm looking at this and you're casting out deeper, I would still kind of consider this, for me, in my opinion, that you're not able to cast where you prefer out in that deeper water. You rather cast shallow, but what's to say those fish aren't out there? Because I've caught fish out there and I fish offshore. So I prefer to fish that deeper water. And I kind of know what you mean by that. You do want to cast towards that shallower water, but then again, your mindset, whenever that boat stops and you see what your opportunities are, take advantage of what you have and make the most out of that, is still the way that I would look at that. So what are your thoughts on that one? Whenever the boat is pointed inland and they're casting out toward the deeper water.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's still plenty of opportunity there. So I agree with you.
Right. I mean, because right now you may be looking at that boater, and let's say that boater doesn't have, just take away electronics, for example. And well, I guess let's leave electronics in for a second. So let's say that boater is casting at something specific. That does not mean that's the only place that fish are, because if that boater didn't know that he was there, he would be fan casting also. So as a co-angler, you go into this knowing that you're not going to be using live scope. You're not going to be using a 360, and you may not even be using a sonar. The best you're going to have sometimes is going to be mapping, because there are boaters that their electronics just don't work anyways. They don't use those. So you just have to kind of adapt to all of those different situations that you may come into.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
never heard someone turn off the console graph, but that was pretty tough. So
yeah, so
at least I know how deep it is, right? So.
right. And see, I don't think I've ever had anybody do that to me. But even if that would happen, immediately what I would think, I would take my drop shot, because I put a 30-foot leader on my drop shot, braid to fluorocarbon. I would take my drop shot and drop it straight down to see how far,
Wow.
what depth I'm in. So I would adapt to whatever it is. I mean, yeah, it's not always an ideal situation, but it's just that mindset. You just have to stay ready for what's going to happen, because most of the time, I would say, as a co-angler, it's not going to be an ideal situation. It's not going to be what you want it to be. And then sometimes it's not what the boater wants it to be. They may start off thinking that, hey, I'm going to go fish grass, and that is not working at all. So they take off and go out offshore, just unplanned. So you just have to be ready. All right, let's see. And guys, I dropped the link. Let me drop the link in here again, see if anybody else wants to pop up. And in a second, guys, I'm going to show a video clip that I pulled offline from an angler that was fishing, and he's saying he's being backboated. So I want some opinions on this to see what you guys think. But let me read through a few more of these real quick, and just let me know if you want to drop back down, or if you're fine with staying up, that guy, and I'll just keep reading through a few of these.
Yeah, all right, so go ahead until someone else volunteers. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we have Brock Schuld. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, man, when the guy in the front kind of puts the back of the boat in a non-opportune situation for the back guy. I think it's kind of unwritten rule that you don't go past the console if you're a co. All right, so you're already laughing at this one. So does something stick out in that one to you?
I remember years ago, being in a tournament, and it was a higher level tournament too, as a co-angler, and the boater was pretty frustrated and
kind of froze up on us again. Let's see if he comes back in.
Console, maybe about even with the console, and so I got a finger pointed in my face in the boat.
Okay, say that because you froze up for a second at the beginning of. So
sorry, I was out here working on the boat, but the I was in a higher level tournament where the boater was extremely frustrated with their performance so far, and I made a cast about even with the console, and that was close enough for him.
Right.
He put his finger in my face, but by the end of the day, he had borrowed some of my brush hogs, and it was all good by the end of the day.
Oh man, yeah, the finger in the face thing, that is definitely not good. And especially depending on how far away you are from the shore. So
it was bad, but he was throwing a buzzbait, and I caught a couple about 2.5 pounds on a brush hog, and he hadn't caught one, and so he grabbed a couple real quick, and all was good after that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. All right, so Brock Shule, let me tell you what stands out in this comment for me. So I am looking at, and I see in a non-opportune situation for the back guy. So if you are in a non-opportune situation and that is your option, that's what you have, but you're catching fish, are you still going to say you're backboated? What would you think that guy, would he still say he's backboated if he's catching, he's in a non-opportune situation, but he's catching fish? Let's say he's catching fish every fourth cast, but he's in a non-opportune, the boat is pointing in a direction that he does not want it to be in, but he's catching fish.
Yeah, you don't consider it backboating unless you're not catching stuff. It's all good, right?
Right. So that's what so Brock Shule, let me know that. So if you're catching fish and the boat is pointing in a non-opportune situation, are you gonna say this is a non-opportune situation, the way that the boat is pointing? So I'm being backboated and I would prefer to have the boat a different way, or would you be okay with it staying in a non-opportune situation? So that is what stood out for me in that one. And again, guys, the reason why I'm saying these things is I just want to open up a different way to view these things for guys. And maybe it's going to help someone out the next time they're on the water and they're like, hey, this is a no-win situation for me. But they will remember some of the comments that were made here, and it will just change that mindset to where now you're like, hey, maybe I need to change up my bait or change up something, because this is the cards I was given. This is what I have to work with. So do I complain? Do I just sit here and lose my money? Or do I go ahead and make the best of this situation? All right, so let's see who else we have here. Let's go through a few more of these. And then I have someone that has come up to the back. We have another brave soul that is
I'm gonna get back to work spooling these rods up. So.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you stopping by. I always appreciate you supporting the channel, and I will see you on the next one.
See you. Thanks.
All right. Sounds good. All right, guys, let's see. Let me read through 2 or 3 more of these, and then I will bring up our next contestant on who's being backboated. All right, so let's see. We were at Brock. Let me scroll down a little bit. Hold on one second. Let me find my place, guys. All right, here we go. All right, so we were at Bassmaster. Let's see. The more I fish, the more I agree with what you said. It's a mental game. How about bed fishing? That can be considered backboating. Very, very interesting. Come on, Bassmasters 101. I want you to come up. I want you to cam up. I want you to come up whenever I play this clip that I have pulled up. So I'm going to drop this link in the description one more time. Well, not just one more time, just in case more guys want to come up. But I want Bassmasters 101 to come up. Just leave a comment in here and let me know if you're going to come up. And if you are, then I'll wait and play the link whenever you come up. But for now, let's go ahead and bring up. All right, we have Ariel coming to the screen. All right. What is going on? What's going on?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you sound fine. Yeah. Sound fine.
Thank you. Well, I've been listening to the guys, so for me it's hard to explain. But yes, it's really, if you got water to throw your fishing pole, it's not really. Actually, if it's no way, you don't know where the fish is, so
right.
Maybe you don't like it, or when I mean preferred is maybe when you feel more confident in some places. Or prefer these places, the fish could be everywhere.
Right.
So I don't know.
So wait a minute. Okay, so guys, this is Mr. Bass Fever we have on the screen now. So So are you saying that you were kind of changing what you were thinking a little earlier? Because you said if you're not being able to cast where you prefer, then you would consider that backboating.
Well, unfortunately, you are a co-angler, so it's nothing you can prefer really right there. It's a border situation. You can do anything. You got something in mind, it's ready to go, and if you got lucky, maybe the fish the same places you fishing, it's lucky because it's no whatever he's doing, you have to adapt to it. So
Right.
that is a co-angler situation, and uh, I got I got people that turn off the fish founders.
Mm-hmm.
I got situations uh, people don't like things, but you have to adapt. You have to be able to catch fish anywhere, and any opportunity. I got tournaments that I don't catch any fish, and
Right.
and you feel really bad. But it is what it is. You just have to think in the next tournament, and that's it.
And just for a point of reference, tell everybody how long you have been fishing as a co-angler, because you fish BFLs, you fish some high level tournaments as a co-angler, right?
I fished the BFLs. I think it 2 years and a half as co-angler,
Mm-hmm.
and I fished the Bama division and the Bulldog division. And some tips I can do. Some guys they want to do BFLs. I prefer to do the Bama divisions because they are 12-inch fish limits, and
Gotcha.
it's much easier to catch the 12 inches, the 14 inches. Okay, so that is a tip for the guys that fishing the BFLs. Okay,
Gotcha.
I got lucky enough. I finished 4, and I believe in 2019 I finished 4 in the Bama.
Hey, yeah, I remember you placed in some tournaments. So yeah, so
Yeah.
he's out there
Yeah.
doing his thing, guys. So he started off thinking, hey, if you're not able to cast where you prefer, then you're being backboated. But now he's kind of thinking about it,
Yes.
saying, well, hey, I'm a co-angler, so I'm not really. So that would mean that I'm
I don't have
always being
choices.
backboated. That pretty much for the most part, because co-anglers, they don't even really get to choose where that boat stops at. So you're starting off not being able to fish where you prefer in a sense. Let me go ahead. Okay, so let's keep this in mind, guys. So Bassmasters 101 says, what about bed fishing? So when I pull this clip up, we'll discuss that one a little bit. So Brock Schul said, that being said, I've never been a co-angler and I just fish solo and team, but I have been front boated fishing with buddies. All right, so still want to know what that definition is for or did he already do his definition? All right, so yeah, fishing with buddies. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's kind of a little different whenever you're with buddies, because you can always just cast that jig and pop them in the back of the head if they're not acting right or something like that. All right, so let's see what S. George has to say. Been in that exact situation, was very frustrated until I spoke to an experienced co-angler. Let's see, he adapted was his thing. Adaptation is the thing. End of the day with productive fishing and a better bag than the boater. So until he spoke to an experienced co-angler. So basically the situation was the same. Speaking to someone is pretty much just going to change what your mindset is, and maybe possibly some of the baits you throw. But if you're in the same situation and now something has happened to where you're able to make that productive, I would say that he may have started off thinking that he's being backboated because he's frustrated. You see that keyword, very frustrated. Very frustrated is going to make you say some things. And some of the things that a co-angler is going to say is, I got backboated. But then if you kind of dive into it, what was the specific situation that has you saying that? All right, let's pull up this next one. We have Texas Nuke 2010. What if you don't have a boat and the back is all you have? If you don't have a boat and the back is all you have, then to me, you want to study that game of being able to fish from the back of the boat and just be able to handle any situation that comes up. And one of the things that I have said and that I thought about whenever I was thinking about putting this live stream together is, what do you guys think about this? So the higher your skill level, the less complaints you will have. The higher your skill level, the less complaints you will have. Because if you pull up to a location where your option is to skip docks and you don't know how to skip docks, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that situation. If you're in a situation where that boat is moving down the bank and rip rap real fast, but you don't know that you can throw a fish head spin, or you don't know that you have to hop that bait behind that boat, your options are limited with the less experience and less skill level that you have. So what do you guys think about that? What are your thoughts on that? Is that true? Not true? All right, let's see. And let's see. I am referring to paralleling the rip rap. So that was his situation, the exact situation that we just said. So once he spoke to someone, he was able to make that productive. So there's ways of getting past these things, guys, and making the most of that situation. All right. So the link is still in the description. So let's see. Shoot through a few of these. I was throwing a Spro jerk bait. All right. So that's what he did. He threw something that would actually suspend a little bit. All right. And let's see, I was a Texas Nuke 2010 says I was a co-angler with a fish on, but broke off. The boater whipped the front of the boat around to fish the lost fish, pushing me to the back. Oh man, let me make a little sound for that one. Let me make a sound for that one. God, I have to read this again. Let's read this again, guys. Texas Nuke 2010 says I was a co-angler with a fish on, but broke off. The boater whipped the front of the boat around to fish the lost fish that I let me see, the fish that I lost, pushing me to the back of the boat. Hey guys. I think he might have it. I think that may be an official backboating situation, but I wouldn't even know. I don't even know if I would call that backboating. That is just on some other level of something bad. That's just something bad. All right, so Texas Nuke 2010. Hey, you're leading the pack right now. So that is something. I don't know if it's backboating, but it is definitely something. All right, so let's see what Brock Schultz says. I am good with all positions as long as I am floating. I just know what it means. All right, there we go. Yeah, got to keep that positive attitude. All right, so we have Bassmasters 101 says, not tonight, almost in bed. All right, so hey, I'm gonna be looking for you next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. on the next live stream. We can dive into it a little bit again. All right, Errol, just let me know whenever you're ready to jump down, or if you want to hop in or anything like that. I'm just going to go through a few more of these comments, and then I will get to the I'll just keep you up through the rest of these comments, and then I'll go ahead and drop you down after that. That'll work.
Okay,
Just have like
sure.
just 3 more. Let's see if you want to add any input on this. All right, we have Country Boy Fishing. Let's go ahead and do a few cheers. Country Boy Fishing. Make sure you guys check out his channel, doing good things in the community. Fishing a ledge and turn boat away from the ledge you're fishing. So now you're saying that the boat is actually pointing shallow. Just a little while ago, we had someone saying that if they're pointing toward the ledge or toward the deeper water, they're being backboated. But this is the opposite. So if you're turning the boat away from the ledge, now you're saying you're being backboated. So just think about that. This person's saying he has to cast toward the deeper water, towards the ledge. Now you're saying that you have to cast toward the shallow part of the ledge or the flat or whatever. You know what I mean? But then again, where are the fish at? How do you know where the fish are at unless you just how do you know that they're not up in that area? And again, the question that I had asked, was it Brock Schuld? If you're catching fish when you're in an unopportune situation and you're saying I'm being backboated at that moment and you start catching fish, but he does not change anything, but you just start catching fish, are you still being backboated? What do you think about that one, Ariel? So if you are in an inopportune situation and you're not catching fish, and say you're just back there pissed off and you're like, man, I'm being backboated, this is the worst thing that's ever happened, and you start catching fish every third cast, let's say you're catching a fish, is that person still going to say, just before you were kind of changing your mind, would you have said that you were being backboated if that was happening to you?
Well, the situation changed right away. But anyway, I don't think it's never backboating. It just, maybe it's not what we prefer as fishermen, or we feel confidence is, the fish is, in the point or in specific places. But if you started catching fish, that's it. if you start catching
Gotcha.
fish, everything changes.
Gotcha.
This is a mental thing, pretty much.
Right. Okay. All right. And let's do one more, and then I'll go ahead and drop you down, and I will pull up this video clip, guys, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this one. All right. So we have Mark Scott. Let's see what Mark Scott has to say. Ryan, how many pics have I sent you of my son catching fish in the back of the boat? But we fish offshore a lot. Everyone has a chance to catch fish. Hey, I mean, so yes, he has sent me a lot of pictures offshore because he's using that Mega Live, and guys, he's putting that Mega Live to work. He's been catching a lot of fish. He's sending me, it almost seems like it's every day he's sending me pictures of him or his son holding up some fish that they've been catching offshore, casting in deeper water. So yeah, so what do you guys think about that? All right, Ariel, so I'll go ahead and drop you down. I appreciate you coming up. Appreciate you supporting the channel. And hey, we'll go ahead and take a look at this video clip. All right, Ariel. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. So now let's see. Hold on one second. Ariel, remove studio if you want to. All right, so now I'm gonna pull up this video clip. Now this, you'll be able to see the person's channel and everything on here. And if you guys want to go and watch the full video, but the title of the video, let me see if we can see that on here. All right, let's see. All right, just bear with me one, guys. Just trying to get loaded and running. And in this clip, basically, it's going to show someone that is fishing a tournament. And okay, we can kind of see it down there. Let's see if I can pull it up to where you guys can see it. Smith mounting. So at the end of it, he says co-angler disaster, backboated. I can't remember the guy's name, but I will put this full video in the description so you guys can actually watch the full thing later. It's a good video. He actually does offer some insight and some things that can help you out whenever you are a co-angler. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. And so this is his perspective as from being a co-angler and saying that he's being backboated. Let's see what you guys think. All right, hold on one second. Here we go, guys. All right, guys. I am back. Okay, let me just pause this real quick and just tell you what you're looking at. Okay, so what he's doing, this boater right here, he is actually bed fishing. There's a lay down over here, and he's fishing. The fish is toward the bank, and as you can see to his left, you can see those stick ups over there. So he's not fishing in that direction. He's fishing over to the right of the boat where the bottom of the tree is at. And let me just go ahead and continue playing this a little bit so that you can see the co-angler position. And let's see if we have some volume on this. I don't know if we'll have volume on this, guys. No, we don't have any volume on it. All right, let me just bring it back a little bit. Okay, so here we go right here. Just trying to get it in the right spot for you guys. All right, so this is the front end where you see the boater is fishing. Over to the right is where he's fishing for that. To those, there's two bedfish over there. And the co-angler is fishing. Let me just kind of inch it along, guys. Okay, here we go. Almost had it. Hold on. Just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Because this will be a... Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is what the co-angler sees. He's casting off the back of the boat. To the left, you can see the bank. And to the right is all of that open water, the shoreline and everything. So he has all of that area to fish. And what he states in here is that he can only make one cast. In this entire video, what he's doing, and he actually speeds it up. He continually makes one cast in the direction where that rod is pointing. He just makes that same cast over and over. I never see him cast out towards that open water, out to the right of the boat. But he has all of that area. What is that? A whole 45 degree, like a 1/4 cut of a circular pie, if you will, that he can cast to. He can cast towards the bank. He can cast toward the open water, but he continually makes that cast directly to where that's fishing. He's saying he's being backboated. What do you guys think about that? For me, how do you know that there's not fish down there? Down that bank and over to the right. So I was trying to play it, but it's kind of choppy, guys. Let's see if it'll play a little bit better. But as you can see, he's just continually making that cast. And right here, I think he's kind of turning around, looking to see what the boat is doing. He turns back, makes that same cast again, makes that same cast right here. Now the boater finally, I think he ends up catching a fish. No, this is the co-angler when he's still kind of saying that he can only make this one cast, and he continues to make that same cast over and over again. While he's saying that basically he's so out of the game that he's just eating a sandwich because he can only make one cast. And so for me, I don't agree with that. What do you guys think? And now the boater catches a fish, which that is going to kill your spirit even more whenever you feel that you are not able to make an effective cast. All right, let's see. All right, guys, let's pull somebody up real quick. Needs Watches is joining in. Just stopping through. Keep up the grind, MNYBS. All right, really appreciate it. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. He's one of the behind the scenes guys. Whenever we get together and kind of politic on a few things as far as how we can make our channels better and things like that. Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you guys check out his channel, Needs Watches. Just search him on YouTube. All right, so what the co-angler eventually decides to do is ask the boater, since he's casting and trying to fish for that fish over in the corner, if he can just cast to the left of the boat, out towards the open water, towards the front end of that tree. And let's see if I can get that part in here where that happens at. Just gonna kind of try to scroll through here real quick just so you guys can see it. Just bear with me, guys. Just kind of inching along. So there we go. So now he asked the boater. The boater was like, sure, I'm not casting up that way anyways. So he cast up there and he actually ends up catching a fish. It is casting towards the front of the boat, but that boater sees the two fish that he is fishing for. So he has no problem with him casting over in that direction. I'm just kind of looking over at some of the comments, guys, so I'm getting distracted a little bit. All right, so that is the situation with this one. He's bed fishing over to that area, but the co-angler is saying he's being backboated because he has to make that same cast over and over from the back of the boat, which I see multiple casts in multiple areas, even if he does stay behind the console where he can cast. What do you guys think? Because like I said, I'm open-minded. I want to hear when someone says that they're being backboated. Let's try to make that better for that fisherman so that they can increase their skill set, increase the options that they have as far as baits that they use or have available to them, and how they can make that situation better. And like I said, guys, the number one thing is to go into it with the mindset of knowing that it's going to be, as a co-angler, a tougher situation because you're not going to be able to dictate where you're going to go, how fast you're fishing, what locations you're fishing, anything like that. All right, so this particular situation right here, that boater has now found two additional fish that are on bed. And so now look at this situation right here, guys. Let's say well, actually not let's say, the boater is, I don't know if he has his talons down right now, but he is targeting two fish that are directly towards that dock. So now the co-angler has all of that other water to fish. He could fish down the other side of that bank. I mean, you don't know what's out there. This guy is sight fishing. The boater is sight fishing. What should that co-angler be doing at this time? Should he be worrying about what that boater is doing, or should he focus on the opportunities that he has? Maybe there are some fish that are just off of that drop off once you go out a little bit from that from the bank or from that dock, or even off of the back of the boat because he's headed down into a cove. So for me, I just look at the opportunities that I do have and not the things that I don't have or the things that I can't do. So you want to just do what you can to keep your mindset right again, guys. Again, that to me, that is the name of the game. All right. Let me just pause this real quick and pull up. Let's see, 1 or 2 more comments real quick, guys, so I don't get too far behind on the comments. Let's see, where were we at? The more I fish, the more I agree. All right, let's see. Just bear with me, guys. Just going through here. I don't want to leave anybody out. Don't want to miss any very productive comments. Okay, here we go. All right, so that guy, yes, agree. Skill level helps tremendously. All right, guys, I want to hear some counters to that. I want to hear somebody that disagrees. Where are the people that disagree? I want to hear somebody say, no, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been backvoted and this is what happened. But who was it? Texas Noop 2010. I think he's had the situation that has come the closest to it. Like I said, I don't know if it was backvoting, but it was definitely something. All right, so let's see who else we have. That guy, if your boater fishes for a lost fish, must have thought there was a school of fish there. Haven't heard of that one before. Yeah, so maybe he thinks that if he whips that boat around and tries to catch one of those fish, that maybe it's some schooling fish over there. Yeah, I mean, in that situation, I would be the one, even though I'm on the front of the boat. I would say, hey, man, can I turn and we both cast for those fish or something? You know what I mean? Now I'm being front boated. Hey, but yeah, so I don't know. That's a good one right there. I have not heard of that one before. All right, so let's see who else we have here. That guy, about your video. Tough situation, but you need to fish the 90 degrees that you have around you. Stay focused. Stay focused, guys. It's about that mindset. All right, let's see. Bass Fever, focus on opportunities they have. All right, so guys, think about that. There are some guys that came into this saying that I have been backvoted. But now, just after our short discussion and we dive into what do you actually mean whenever that happens, they're slowly starting to think about it. And they're like, hey, I actually wasn't backvoted. I just didn't like the opportunities that were presented to me. I didn't know how to take advantage of those situations or those opportunities that were presented to me. And so because of that, I'm now saying that I'm being backvoted. And guys, think about whenever you actually are saying, and so this guy's putting this on the internet. And if you are that boater and you see a video about you saying that you backvoted someone and you clearly can see that for one, I don't know what he meant by that. He has water to cast to, and he actually caught a fish. He caught a fish, but he didn't catch the fish he wanted. So, but now my reputation is being tainted because someone has actually said that about me. You follow what I mean? So I'm just saying from a boater's viewpoint, that may be how they feel whenever they actually see that someone put out a video saying that about them. All right, let's see what Pat has to say. All right, Pat says, I have heard too many co-angler stories where they were backboated and they ended up catching some good fish. Man, listen, guys. Come on, guys. Let me read this one more time. Pat, let's go ahead and pull Pat's comment up. Pat says, I've heard too many co-angler stories where they were backboated and they ended up catching some good fish. So that kind of goes back to that original question, guys. If you are being backvoted and it is physically happening right then where you are saying I'm being backvoted, but you're catching fish, do you still consider that backvoting, being backvoted? Are you backvoted even if you're catching fish? And so again, guys, if anybody's just joining in, we're looking for clear definitions. What does someone mean by I'm being backvoted? And I think this will be a good video for even if you guys missed the live, go back and watch it on replay. Because I mean, we've been having some fun here, guys. We're just exchanging thoughts, ideas on ways to resolve this and just help guys that are out on the water and just want a better outcome. All right, so we got Pat. Let's go ahead and pull this video back up and go ahead and show you guys something else that was very interesting that ends up happening in this video. So if he's being backboated, right? The fish are up there. Now, this boater is only fishing for 2 fish. For 2 fish. How many fish are in all of these other areas? All of that other water. How many fish are out there? Could there be at least 1? because that is what you're fishing for. You're fishing for that one fish that you need to catch. Now, let's see. All right, so pay attention right here, guys. And I did not put this arrow on the screen. This is actually the person's video that I'm playing that puts this on the screen. And I'm just using this through fair use. And see, there you go. He catches a fish. Is he being backboated? Because that boater is locked in trying to catch two fish that he can see. But this co-angler is left to fish for fish that he can't see. All right, now see that arrow right there? Guess what this co-angler says this is swimming down that bank going towards the back of the boat. He says that is about a 3-pound fish swimming that way. A 3-pounder swimming back in the other direction. Okay, so that's the end of that video. But let me just see if I can just pull that part back up, just that part. So there we go. So that arrow, the direction that arrow is pointing is where the fish is coming from, but he's swimming towards that other dock down there where the co-angler obviously is facing, and that's the area that he has to fish. All right, so we have somebody else that is free to come up. Let me go ahead and drop that link. All right, there's the link for you. And let me see. When you come up, I will pull up. Let's see, it's supposed to be. All right, so yeah, we have one. Okay, I just dropped the link for you, Texas Noob 2010. If you see that in there, please go ahead and click on it. Let's see what you have to say. But as I was saying, this arrow is where the fish is coming from, and he's swimming. So there's obviously fish back there. So if he's now saying and telling people that this boater, as you can see, the title of it says backboated. If he's telling people and people know who that boater is, that is not going to make that boater feel good. And it is because mindset, just get your mind in a position to where you want to take advantage of the opportunity that you do have. All right, so all right, Texas Noob 2010. We have somebody else that just hopped up here in the dark. Let's see who this is. Where's the light at? Where's the light? We have Texas Noob 2010. All right, so let me go ahead and see how we can do this right here. We have Mask Off has come on the screen. Let's go ahead and drop it. And we also have, for the first time, we have Texas Noob 2010. Good to see you. All right, so we have 2 people up here on the panel. Good to see you, Pat. Mask Off. Haven't seen you for a while. And we have Texas Noob. All right. All right, so let's see let's see, Texas Noob 2010. So you said that the person spun the boat around on you, right? Okay, there we go. Did you lock up? I don't think we can hear you yet.
Yeah, I was fishing a tournament, and this partner I had, he was always like that. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you now. You said you were a tournament and that you had. He was always like that. Okay. So let me ask you real quick: are you watching on YouTube or are you looking at the through the link? Because that may be the reason why there's a delay. And let's see, I think you're muted too. Let's see if I can unmute. Yes, you muted yourself. I think you have to unmute yourself. Yeah, so you're muted. You want me to drop you down?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I'm gonna Texas Noob 2010 down, and then I will bring you back up. Maybe let's just try. Once we talk to Mask Off, then I'll bring you back up, and let's see if that kind of clears up the connection. All right, we have Mask Off hiding in the dark. What's going on back there? Who you hiding from?
Oh man,
can you hear me? Okay,
man. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, man. What's going on?
Life, man. It's one thing after another. I'm trying to get out there, though. I promise. Everything keep happening, but
waiting on you, man. We're gonna be at Maga next.
Man, y'all saved my spot, man.
Right,
I'm gonna be back.
So what do you? All right, hey, we're waiting on you. So what do you have, man? What do you have to input to this conversation?
Well, I just wanted to share some stories, the co-angler stories I heard. So B Hanks in the club, he
Okay.
told me when he was a co-angler in the Coaster Series. I don't think they still have that, but he said the guy was basically bed fishing, and he had his boat pointed dead at the bed. So he decided, okay, I'm just gonna throw parallel to the bank. And he said he ended up finding a group of fish, and I think he caught two, and then the boater, then he started throwing to where Brandon Hanks was throwing. And they started fishing his fish. So he got backboated, and he ended up
Oh
catching a nice
man.
bag as a co-angler. And then Bass Fever, he told me one time he was at I guess it was the BFL. He said the guy was pointing straight at the dock. So instead of trying to, fish where, he decided to throw to the dock behind him. And because, he was so far away, he was not right on top of the fish. So he ended up catching like a 3-pounder. So he told me that story while he was taking me out on his boat. I did the same thing. He wasn't backboating me, but I did the same thing and caught a 3-pounder on Lanier. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. That's when I was a believer. I was like, okay, it's not that you're getting backboated. You just gotta, one door closes, another one opens. So if they want to,
okay. So check this out. You've said backboated like 3 or 4 times so far. What is your definition of backboated? What does that mean? Whenever you're saying that, what are you thinking? What does that mean?
How do I? It's a lot of definitions for it. Everybody has their own definition, but it's when the boater limits. It's not when the boater limits, because the boater got to do what he has to do. It's when the co-anglers are limited by what the boater is doing, based off what the boater is doing. So it's not, but like I said, it's not the boater's fault, because the boater got to catch his fish too, and some of them do it intentionally, some do it unintentionally, and you just got to make the best of it. But it's not like a right or wrong. It's just stuff happens,
All right, guys. Okay, here we go. All right, Deshaun Peck. All right, we have Deshaun Peck in the house. Let me just hit it for you real quick. We have Deshaun Peck. Glad to have you in the. All right, Deshaun Peck, longtime subscriber, supporter of the channel. All right, guys, I do not know what is going on, but I'm glad we could keep this conversation going because I am having fun with it. Let's go ahead and drop this link one more time. So we'll go for a few more minutes, guys, maybe about 10 more minutes or so. We still have a few guys in the comment section, a few guys still watching. So I'll drop this back down here. If Texas Nuke 2010, if you're still out there and you want to hop back on, let's see. I've heard too many. I'm just going through here trying to pull up, make sure I didn't leave anybody out. All right, we have Randy Robertson. All right, good to see you. Good to have you in the comment section. All right, I think you should bring a portable Mega Live along. Stick it out the back of the boat, target those deep fish, and have fun. Oh, man. All right, there we go. That is a good option. That's something that you can try. All right, so we have, let's see, Bass Fever says, great memories, brother. All right. He's talking about Mask Off. All right, we have Mark Scott. I agree with you, Mask Off. There we go. All right, we have Mike Daly. All right, good to have you. Good to have you in the live stream. Let me see. I've never fished as a co-angler before. All right, yeah, it's an interesting concept, interesting thing. I mean, it is definitely fun and adventurous. All right, Bass Fever agrees. Texas Nuke, yes, 10 by 10. All right, let's see who else we have here. Vernon Neal says, yes, we can hear you. All right, so that is all of the comments, guys. All right, so we have been going for almost 1.5 hours, guys. Getting kind of late, have some things I have to take care of. But what do you guys think? What did we accomplish here today? Did anybody learn anything new? Was there any good information that came out of this? And from what I have heard, the guys that were saying the backboating thing, the definitions that we came up with, Mask Off says when you have limited opportunities as a co-angler. But by definition, to me, a co-angler is going to have limited opportunities. And that co-angler position is for you to figure out the best way to take advantage of those limited opportunities that you know you are going to be facing as a co-angler. You don't know what situation you're going to be in. You are almost like that Navy SEAL, like that Marine, the first out there on the beach, the one that has to get out there and figure out something that nobody else has to figure out because you don't know what situation you're about to be brought up in. All right, guys. Let's see what else we have. All right. Texas Nuke 2010 says you made some good points. Man, it was good to see you. I really appreciate you continuing to support the channel each week. Each week, I'm going to try to come up with something good, something fun, something entertaining. And remember, guys, the main thing is to bring value to every one of these live streams, every one of these videos. All right, let's see. Let me just pull up one last comment, and I'm going to go ahead and end this, guys. But I learned, buy you a boat. So that is in the end. But hey, I mean, a lot of guys, that is what they're working towards. So that co-angler is that stepping stone, because once you become a successful co-angler, guys, you are definitely ready to start taking on that challenge of being a boater, because as a co-angler, you're going to be facing things that you will not be facing as a boater. Oh, hold on one second. Let's see what we have here, guys. We have a definition. Backboated is when the boater intentionally moves the co-angler out of position while getting a bite, casting, or setting the hook. This often happens once the co-angler is catching fish. All right, so what I'm understanding this to mean is that to be backboated, that co-angler is actually catching fish. It's not that they're not catching fish and don't have the opportunity. So what Texas Nuke 2010 said is that he caught a fish, it broke off. Well, he hooked a fish, it broke off, and that and that boater spun the boat around and began trying to catch the fish in the area where the co-angler had just broke off. If I'm just put is that correct, Deshaun Peck? That is what being backboated is by taking away that opportunity that the co-angler actually found, not by limiting the opportunities or anything like that from the co-angler, but by basically trying to catch that co-angler's fish once that boater sees that the co-angler has that opportunity or has caught a fish. That's what you're saying the definition of backboated is. And if that is the definition, then that is completely different from everything that we have heard other than what Texas Nuke 2010 says. So if that is the definition of backboating, then I think that we may have learned something from that. All right, so Vernon Neal, we have some guys kicking in now. Let's see. Vernon Neal says, backboated, an obvious attempt to keep the co-angler from catching fish, especially when a joker turns off the console graph. Oh, let's hit it again for that one right there, man. So that could possibly be a form of backboating. I think the name of it just doesn't fit. Because yes, you're doing something to try to prevent that co-angler from being able to catch fish whenever you turn that graph off. Because I can't think of a reason other than that person saying that, yeah, I don't want my battery to go dead, but you should get new batteries because you're actually doing something to harm that person that is fishing on the boat with you whenever you're doing that. But yeah, guys, so I hope this has been useful. I hope it has been entertaining and educational. I hope you guys have learned something. And what I'm really hoping is that there's a co-angler that will come back and say, I used to say I'm getting backboated on a regular basis or at any time and really just being upset about it. But now they think about it and they're like, hey, I don't think I'm being backboated. I just didn't realize how to take advantage of the opportunity that is in front of me. And now I'm going to change my mindset, change up these baits, change up what I'm doing, and start catching fish. All right, guys, I really appreciate you supporting the channel. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out if you did not hit it on the way in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. I will see you next week. Make sure you stay tuned and share these videos, guys. Let's get this thing growing. We're shooting for 5,000 subscribers by the end of June, guys. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. All right, guys. Appreciate you. See you guys on the